They say that in the northern part of England, where roads vanish into the fog, stands Blackbridge Castle. A mask the locals keep their distance. In the pubs, they speak of it only in whispers. Strange lights in the windows at night. But Jake, a man who believed only in facts, was not about to give in to superstition. He arrived at the castle at sunset. The last rays of the sun clung to the jagged walls, while inside, a viscous darkness was already gathering. The drone revealed a ruined courtyard, crooked gates, and long shadows, like someone's outstretched hands. On the recording, Jake whispered, "Well then, welcome to Blackbridge." As soon as he took his first step inside, the door slammed shut behind him, on its own. Jake flinched, but tried not to show it. "Draft," he whispered into the camera. The corridors seemed endless. The camera caught the triple echo of every step. Dust hung in the air like fog. That was when Jake heard it for the first time, a faint, barely audible whisper. He froze, turned around, silence. "If that's you, wind," he muttered nervously. That was when Jake heard it for the first time, a faint, barely audible whisper. He froze, turned around, silence. "If that's you, wind," he muttered nervously. The corridors grew narrower. The camera began to hiss and crackle, as if something was interfering with the signal. He stepped into the hall, where the walls were lined with dusty portraits. Faces, pale, stern, their gazes tense. All of them stared at a single point, the very door he had just opened. Jake moved the camera closer. On one portrait was a woman in black, her face expressionless, but through the lens, her eyes were moving. He checked. The canvas itself remained perfectly still. "Great visual glitch, fantastic," he tried to joke, but his voice trembled. A sharp scraping sound cut through the recording. Jake spun around. The portraits began to quiver softly, as if someone inside was knocking against the frame. He hurried on until he found himself in a circular hall. Here, the ceiling was so high that its top was swallowed by darkness. When Jake stepped into the center, the sound of his footsteps did not merely echo off the walls. It answered. "Who's there?" Jake asked, and in reply he heard his own voice, twisted, distorted, as if repeated by the mouth of someone long dead. "Who's there? There, Jake." He turned pale. I didn't say that," the echo returned. Spoke, speak, stay." He realized he had to leave. But the castle had no intention of letting him go. Every corridor led somewhere it shouldn't. Jake frantically checked the footage on his camera, but the paths shifted right before his eyes. The basement, worst idea ever, but there's no other way, he exhaled. He descended. The basement was freezing. Dampness seeped into his bones. Deep scratches marked the stone, as if someone had once tried to claw their way out. On the far wall stood a massive iron doorway wrapped in chains, but the chains were torn loose, and the door slightly ajar. The camera trembled. Jake slowly approached the door. Beyond the door lay a room. In its center stood an ancient wooden throne. Upon it sat a stretched shadow, faceless, formless. Yet it watched him, with all its hollow, dark voids. I'm leaving," Jake whispered. The shadow rose, the walls thundered, the camera sparked. On the final frames the viewers saw on the channel, Jake is running down the corridor, breath ragged, while behind him the heavy footsteps and whisper draw closer. "You came, so you will stay." Then the image tears into static lines, and the video cuts off. Jake never came back online. But every night at the same time, the YouTube channel begins to show a new recording that no one uploaded. On it, only breathing can be heard, and a whisper, "Jake is still here."